You ever line up a few albums that on paper have nothing in common, and then you realize they're all connected in some sort of unexpected way? Well, that's exactly what happened this week. And we got records, man, from jazz funk grooves to 90 alt rock. We also have a lush singer songwriter I'm going to share with you, some wonderful storytelling, and modern electronic bliss. This stack feels like it's a trip through time. So let's cue it up because it's Tuesday Tunes and you're watching Vinyl Latte. Hey guys, welcome back to Tuesday Tunes. This is a weekly ritual where we sip some coffee, we spin some records, and we talk about what's hitting the platter lately. And if you're new here, grab your mug, settle in, and let's dig into this week's lineup because we really do have a good one for you. Now, first up is something that you probably never heard of because I never heard of it until I got to record. And this is Okito. This album's called Dystopian Heart. And this one completely caught me off guard for a couple reasons. One, I wasn't looking for this record. I knew nothing about this record. It was sent to me as a gift from my friends over at Remix Records. Let's see if I can make sure you could see the record. There we go. It's sent to me from the folks over at Remix Records, and this was sent as a gift. So I had no idea. I went to Discogs. There was nothing in it at Discogs. So there was no information. I actually had to do some research on Bandcamp to figure out who this artist is, what kind of music it is before I drop the needle. And let me just tell you a little bit about this record. This is a indie release on a private press out of Orlando that sort of blends reggae, hip hop, and soul with this, I would say, cinematic touch. The production on here is actually feels handcrafted. You got bass lines that hit deep but stay still control. You have some horns on here that really shine and lyrics that tell stories from the heart. And it's got a rare mix of groove and emotion that keeps you just locked in. And I would tell you this, I wasn't looking for this record. I wasn't hunting for it. I didn't know anything about the artist until now. But I have two things. One, I feel like if you stumble across a copy of this record, don't pass it up. It's a small run pressing. It sounds great. I think you're going to really find it'll be a hidden gem with inside of your collection. For me personally, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into this artist. I think this was enough to kind of whet my interest on Aikido, and I think it'll be awesome to maybe pick up another record or two from the artist and really see if there's if you get connected to that artist or not. So I noticed that I think Dystopian Heart was more of the early on records. He had a couple records come out after. So I'm kind of curious to see what his own evolution is as he kind of came out with new music, new inspiration, new ideas. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I feel like it's an artist that you probably don't have in your collection. And unless you're in the Orlando indie scene, you might have not even heard of Okito. So hopefully that's something new for you. The rest of the albums I'm going to share with you are ones that you know. And next up is, of course, one of the cornerstones of early 90s alternative rock, and that is none other than the Smashing Pumpkins. And this is Gish, and this is their debut album produced by Butch Vig. And this is before Siamese Dream, which that album really made them legends. So this was a little bit before their claim to fame, if you will. Now, I would tell you this is a sealed copy, so I haven't spun it yet. But I did do some research online around it, and the comments swear that this has a lot of raw energy. I noticed that people said it's very thick. It does the layered guitars beautifully, which was kind of a very 90s rock thing, right? Right, all that layered guitars on top of each other. But it sounds great. It never really gets muddied up. Of course, the drums are just pounding, and of course, any record, that has the unmistakable Corgan in it is just, it's amazing, right? And yes, this is a reissue. It's not the OG, but it's said to capture that punch and texture that really made this record stand out when it was originally recorded in 91. And out of all the records I'm about to share with you, because the next set, all of the next couple records are all sealed, but I think out of all of them, this is the one that I want to open next, right? In fact, I almost opened this before recording. And the only reason why I'm not, by the way, because some of you are probably like, well, why are you showing me records that are still sealed and you can't talk about the way they sound? Is because you asked for that. I was telling you all before that I was collecting records, that those records were sealed, and I would get things in the comments or people messaging me and be like, you keep saying you're buying these records sealed, but every time you show them, they're open. Are you really buying them sealed? Yada, yada, yada. So I wanted to share that if I bought a record sealed, that it's sealed. The downside of that is I can't speak to the quality. I can only go by what's published online. Now, one other interesting thing for me is that I've been looking for this record for a long time, probably about 4 years now, actively looking. I've only ever found one. Um, it was at a record fair here in Raleigh, but it was scratched to heck, guys. I wouldn't run my needle through it. So I was super stoked to pick this one up. I picked it up through High Fidelity Records, and it was very cheap compared to some of the other records that I grabbed. So kudos to High Fidelity having a sealed one. I know you can go in Discogs and pick this record up, but sometimes you just like to find things out in the wild or through stores that you like to support. And this is kind of one of those cases. Speaking of High Fidelity Records, this next one also came from them. And I'm gonna tell you now, we're gonna rewind the clock, guys. We're gonna jump back a few decades. We're gonna talk about one of Rolling Stone's top 500 records of all time, one that you should probably have in your collection if you're looking for great records to add to your collection, especially to explore new music. Some of y'all are gonna know this one, some of y'all ain't. But that's why we do these Tuesday tunes to discover new things together. And we're talking about today Lou Donaldson, and this is Mr. Shing-A-Ling, recorded in 1967, originally released on Blue Note. And this is, of course, a reissue. This is not the 67 OG. This is also sealed. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this album is where jazz and funk sort of meet head on. You got Lou alto sax on here, just rise over Idris Muhammad's tight drumming. You have Lonnie Smith here on the grooves. I mean, this is just pure Boogaloo soul. And like I said, I can't tell you how it sounds because mine's still sealed. But I did, of course, do a little bit of Discogs research, and they say that the sessions here on this album, they sound big, they sound bold, beautifully warm on vinyl. People really rave about this reissue, which is actually really, really cool. And whether I gotta say, man, if you have an original or you stumble across original or you get one of these newer reissues, this is one of those albums that just never fail to light up a room. I think you'd be really happy with it if you get one of them a go. Now, this next one I picked up at Remix Records. It was sort of on their Holy Moly wall. It's a band that I've been trying to collect their records for quite some time. They're a little bit hard to find, to be honest with you. And when you do find them, people spin these records, and it's sometimes hard to find them in good condition. So I've been actively hunting. Now, uh, truthfully, I wasn't looking for this particular album. There's like three, I think three other albums that I've been looking for from the band. But when I saw this, it was one of those. I don't know if you guys ever done this, but it's one of those games where you're like, you grab it, you hold it around the store for a little while, and then you're like, nah, maybe not. I think I'll pass. Maybe I'll wait to see if I can find it cheaper. You put it back on the wall, and you go back digging. You're like, yeah, I don't know though. I mean, when you're gonna find one of this is sealed, right? It's like when you're gonna find one sealed, it's not messed up. You've been having a hard time finding that artist in good condition. And then you grab it, and then I was like, but this wasn't really a record that an album from the artist that I was like looking to collect. So then I talked myself out of it again. I put it back on the wall, and then I'm getting ready to walk up to the register, and I realized I only have really my wife did some shopping. She picked up a lot of great things from that store that she was looking for, but I only had one album for me in the pile, and I'm like, I still have some budget money here left. I was expecting to spend more for me, and I have enough money to cover this album, so I went back right as I was walking up to. Actually, I think I put my records down on the counter. The guy was starting to scan them, and I said, "Hold on, be right back." And I went and grabbed the record again from the wall. And the album I'm talking about is Zoo. This is Dreamland. This is the deluxe edition. It's on translucent orange vinyl. It's a double LP. And again, I haven't cracked the seal in this because I want to show you that it was still sealed. I bought it sealed, mint condition, all the way around. Reviews on this one, guys, says it has an incredible mastering job. A deep and controlled bass, immersive layering, and there's just like sort of this cinematic atmosphere that just fills the room. Folks are saying this is a great way to test like a modern system. It's really built, to really kind of showcase what your your vinyl player can do, your system could do behind it. Now, what I thought was interesting when I digged into this, and I did do a little research before I bought the record. I think it was like the second time I picked it up, I was doing some research. It is a 2023 press. It is limited. They only made 1,000 of these. This is another reason why I bought it, because there's only 1,000 of these in existence. This is number 245, and it's still sealed. So I felt like the rarity of, okay, there's only 1,000 of these records usually get played, that's why you can't find them in good condition, and, it's still sealed, like, I just felt like it was a keeper for me. So yeah, that's why I grabbed it. I can't wait to give that one a listen as well. Now, the last record I have for you is an amazing record. I believe this is another one of those Rolling Stone top 500 albums of all time. And we're talking about Tiger Lily from Natalie Merchant. This is her first solo album, so this is right after 10,000 Maniacs, and it was released in 1995. And it's still one of the most personal and timeless singer-songwriter records of that era. This is also, again, guys, sealed, but, what's interesting is you read the reviews on this one, and everyone who's played this, the comments here, it talks about its warmth, its intimacy, how Merchant's voice just feels right in a room with you. And I agree with that because you could stream this album, stream it on high res. You got songs on here like Carnival and Wonder, and they're just one of those types of songs that make you want to stop mid sip on your coffee and just listen to the music closer. You ever have that where you're not really intended to sit down and listen to a particular album, but you just maybe have it on in the background, and then something just strikes you with a particular song or the way that it sounds, and it just stops you dead in the tracks, and it makes you just sit and enjoy and appreciate the artistry, the music, what's going on, the emotions of it all. This is one of those records that's going to make you do that. At least it always has for me, and I'm really excited to get the MoFi copy on the turntable to hear how this sounds. Now, this is the second press from MoFi. The way you can tell is that down here you have the DSD transfer information. The original one has a black strip that goes across and, of course, does not mention anything about the DSD transfer. What's interesting about all of that, though, is that the second press from MoFi actually has higher ratings. They're both rated a lot. They both have a decent amount of ratings. But the second press is actually rated higher than the original, the first pressing, the first reissue from MoFi, which I thought was interesting. So this apparently, even though it was the second copy, it apparently sounds better than the original one. I don't know. That's what at least they say, guys, and that's all I can go by because I can't listen to it. So hopefully I'll get a chance to give them a spin. And yeah, man, I tell you what, I know that some of y'all also like me to talk about how the record actually sounds. And if that's you, go ahead and let me know in the comments. But that kind of wraps up this week, right? We had a little bit of soul, we had a little bit of grit, we had a little bit of dreamscape here. We got 5 records that, quite frankly, couldn't be any more different from each other, yet somehow play beautifully back to back. And I'm kind of curious too, which one would you spin or open first? Would it be the Mr. Shing-A-Ling or the Gish or whatever? You know it's going to be Gish for me. I already spoiled that. But I'm kind of curious to know if you had these records right now sitting next to you, which one would you open and put on the turntable? Let me know. Drop it in the comments below. And let me know also what you're waiting for. If you got any records that you're excited about, some new additions, etc. I love communicating with you, connecting with the folks in the channel. And if you're new here, guys, hit that subscribe, tap the bell. Join the Vinyl Latte family. You can also follow us on Instagram. I am trying to build an Instagram presence. I'm really horrible at Instagram, but we're trying to make it happen. Help me build a community. Follow me over at Vinyl Latte Cafe, all one word, Vinyl Latte Cafe over at Instagram. And if anybody out there is like an Instagram expert, DM me, man. Give me some trade secrets, right? Tell me what I can do to try to get the thing going. Because I'm trying to make Instagram a little bit different than what you see here on YouTube. So I'm kind of trying to take pictures of what I'm spinning so you know what I'm playing, or if I have a rare find, or if there's something newsworthy. I'm going to be trying to do a lot more work towards that Instagram page over the next couple months. So go ahead and grab me there. And while you do that, I'll see you next Tuesday. And until then, keep your coffee hot and your record spinning. I'll see you next time.